Hey everyone, and welcome back to Mind's Quotes. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here today because we're about to dive into one of the most life-changing books ever written, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Before we begin this incredible journey together, if you love transformative content that can literally reshape how you see reality, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming on this channel. Today, we're going on a deep dive that will completely revolutionize how you experience every single moment of your life. We're talking about escaping the prison of your own mind, finding peace in chaos, and discovering a happiness that doesn't depend on anything external. Chapter 1. You are not your mind. The greatest discovery of human existence. Let me start with something that might blow your mind right off the bat. You are not your thoughts. Read that again. You are not your thoughts. Most people go their entire lives believing they are their mind. They think that constant voice in their head, the one that's commenting, judging, worrying, planning, regretting. They think that voice I them. But here's the revolutionary truth that Eckhart Tolle discovered. That voice is just mental noise, and you are the awareness that observes it, the voice in your head. Think about this for a moment. Right now, as you're listening to me, there's probably a voice in your head that's either agreeing with what I'm saying, disagreeing, or maybe thinking about what you're going to have for dinner. That voice never stops, does it? It's like having a radio that you can never turn off. Tolle calls this the mental noise, and it's the source of almost all human suffering. This voice loves to live in the past, replaying old hurts and mistakes. It loves to jump into the future, creating anxiety about things that haven't even happened yet. But here's what it almost never does. It rarely stays in the present moment. The ego's survival mechanism. This mental voice is what Tolle calls the ego. Not ego in the sense of being arrogant, but ego as in your sense of separate self. The ego is like a mental entity that has convinced you it's essential for your survival. It feeds on drama, problems, and conflict because these things make it feel important and real. The ego is terrified of the present moment because in the now, there are no problems. Problems can only exist when you're mentally time-traveling to the past or future. Think about it. Have you ever had a problem right now? Not tomorrow, not yesterday, but in this exact moment? Usually the answer is no. Breaking free from mental slavery. So, how do you break free from this mental prison? The first step is awareness. Start observing your thoughts instead of being lost in them. Imagine you're sitting by a river, and your thoughts are like leaves floating down the water. You can see them, acknowledge them, but you don't jump in and get swept away by them. Try this exercise right now. For the next 30 seconds, just watch your thoughts. Don't judge them. Don't try to stop them. Just observe. Notice how they come and go like clouds in the sky. Congratulations! You just experienced the difference between being your mind and observing your mind. Chapter 2. Consciousness. The way out of pain. The pain body phenomenon. Here's another mind-blowing concept from Tolle. The pain body. This is an accumulated mass of emotional pain that lives within almost every human being. It's like an energetic parasite that feeds on negative emotions and drama. The pain body is made up of all the emotional pain you've ever experienced but never fully felt and released. Every hurt, betrayal, disappointment, and trauma that you push down instead of processing has become part of this pain body. How the pain body operates. The pain body is cunning. It lies dormant for periods, then suddenly awakens and takes over your thinking and emotions. When it's active, it will make you think thoughts and feel emotions that generate more pain, because that's what it feeds on. Have you ever noticed how sometimes you can wake up in a bad mood for no apparent reason? Or how small things can trigger disproportionately large emotional reactions? That's often the pain body taking control. The power of presence. The only way to dissolve the pain body is through conscious presence. When you're fully present, fully aware, the pain body cannot survive because it needs unconsciousness to operate. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. The darkness automatically disappears. This doesn't mean avoiding or suppressing negative emotions. It means being present with them, feeling them fully without resistance, without adding mental commentary. When you can be present with pain without creating a story around it, it naturally dissolves. Chapter 3. Moving deeply into the now. The illusion of time. Here's where things get really fascinating. Time, as we experience it mentally, is largely an illusion. There's only ever this moment. Now, the past exists only as memory traces in your brain, and the future exists only as projections and possibilities in your mind. But the ego mind is obsessed with time. It's constantly saying, I'll be happy when, or if only this hadn't happened. It's always somewhere else, never here. And because the ego is never satisfied with the present moment, you end up living your entire life waiting for some future moment to arrive when you'll finally be okay. Clock time versus psychological time. Tolle makes an important distinction between clock time and psychological time. Clock time is practical. It helps us catch flights and meet appointments. Psychological time is when we get lost in time, when we use time to enhance our sense of self through past achievements or future goals. You need clock time to function in the world, but psychological time is what creates stress, anxiety, and unhappiness. The key is learning to use clock time when necessary, while living primarily in the present moment, accessing the power of now. So, how do you access this present moment? One of the simplest ways is through body awareness. Right now, can you feel your hands? Can you feel your feet inside your shoes? This inner body awareness is always available and always in the present moment. Another powerful technique is conscious breathing. Your breath is always happening now. When you focus on your breath, you're automatically brought into the present moment. Try taking 3 deep breaths right now, feeling each inhale and exhale completely. Chapter 4, Mind Strategies for Avoiding the Now. The Ego's Resistance Tactics. The ego has countless strategies for avoiding the present moment because it knows that in true presence, it cannot survive. Let me share some of the most common ones. Waiting. The ego loves to make you wait for life to begin. I'll be happy when I get that promotion, when I find the right relationship, when I have more money. But happiness that depends on external conditions is always temporary and fragile. Complaining. This is one of the ego's favorite activities. Complaining makes the ego feel righteous and important. But complaining is just resistance to what is, and resistance creates suffering, worry. The ego projects problems into the future and then suffers about them in the present. But worry has never solved a single problem. It only creates stress and clouds your ability to respond effectively to actual situations. The drama addiction. Many people are unconsciously addicted to drama because drama makes them feel alive and important. The ego feeds on problems, conflicts, and emotional turbulence. That's why some people, even when their external life is going well, will unconsciously create problems or get involved in other people's drama. Breaking the pattern. The way out of these patterns is not through fighting them, but through awareness. When you catch yourself waiting, complaining, or worrying, simply acknowledge it without judgment. Say to yourself, I notice I'm waiting for life to begin, or I notice I'm complaining. This awareness creates space between you and the pattern, allowing it to naturally dissolve. Chapter 5, The State of Presence. What true presence feels like. When you're truly present, there's a quality of aliveness that permeates your being. Colors seem more vivid, sounds are clearer, and there's a sense of peace and completeness that doesn't depend on anything external. In presence, problems don't disappear, but your relationship to them changes completely. Instead of being overwhelmed or resistant, you can respond from a place of clarity and wisdom. You realize that most of what you call problems are just situations that require your attention and appropriate action. The joy of being. Underneath the mental noise, underneath the emotions and thoughts, there's a joy of being that is your natural state. This isn't happiness that comes from getting what you want. This is a deeper joy that comes from recognizing your true nature beyond the mind. This joy doesn't need a reason. It's the joy of existence itself, the joy of consciousness recognizing itself. When you taste this joy, you realize that you were looking for it in all the wrong places. Presence in daily life. Presence isn't just for meditation cushions. It's meant to transform your daily life. Whether you're washing dishes, walking to work, or having a conversation, you can bring the quality of presence to any activity. When you're present while doing something, the activity itself becomes meditation. Washing dishes becomes a dance with warm water and soap bubbles. Walking becomes a celebration of movement and breath. Even mundane tasks become doorways to the sacred. Chapter 6, The Inner Body, Your Portal to the Present. One of the most practical teachings in the power of now is the concept of the inner body. This is the energy field that animates your physical form, the life force flowing through your cells, organs, and systems. Most people are completely disconnected from their inner body because they live entirely in their heads. But the inner body is always present, always in the now, and connecting with it is one of the fastest ways to come into presence. Feeling your life force. Try this right now. Close your eyes and feel the life energy in your hands. Can you sense a subtle tingling, warmth, or aliveness? That's your inner body. This energy field extends throughout your entire physical form. When you're connected to your inner body, several amazing things happen. Stress naturally dissolves. Your thinking becomes clearer, and you feel more grounded and centered. You also become more intuitive because intuition comes through the body, not the mind. The immune system of consciousness. Staying connected to your inner body also strengthens what Tolle calls your immune system of consciousness. Just as your physical immune system protects you from viruses and bacteria, a strong connection to your inner body protects you from negative mental and emotional influences. When you're grounded in your inner body, other people's negative emotions and energy don't stick to you as easily. You become like a mountain, stable, grounded, and unmoved by the storms of life. Chapter 7, Portals into the Now, Multiple Doorways to Presence. Tolle describes several portals or doorways into the present moment. We've already discussed body awareness and conscious breathing. Let me share a few more powerful ones. The power of silence. In the space between thoughts, in the gaps between words, there's profound silence. This silence isn't empty. It's full of potential, full of life. Learning to rest in silence, even for a few moments, can be incredibly transformative. Listening deeply. Most people don't really listen. They're too busy preparing what they're going to say next. But when you listen with your whole being, when you're completely present with someone's words, you enter the now together. Deep listening is an act of love and presence. Accepting what is. This doesn't mean being passive or not taking action. It means first accepting the reality of what's happening right now, then responding from that place of acceptance. Resistance to what is always creates suffering. The portal of gratitude. Gratitude is another powerful portal into presence. But we're not talking about forced positive thinking. True gratitude is a recognition of the gift of existence itself. When you can feel genuine gratitude for simple things, the air you breathe, the heart that beats in your chest, the miracle of consciousness itself, you naturally drop into the present moment. Beauty as a doorway. Have you ever been stopped in your tracks by a beautiful sunset, a piece of music, or a flower? In those moments, the mind becomes still and you're fully present. Beauty naturally evokes presence because it bypasses a thinking mind and speaks directly to your essence. You can cultivate this by consciously looking for beauty in your daily life. Not just in obviously beautiful things, but in the extraordinary ordinariness of life. The way light falls across a wall, the sound of rain on the roof, the smile of a stranger. Chapter 8, Enlightened Relationships. Relationship as spiritual practice. Most people enter relationships seeking to get something: love, security, companionship, validation. But Tolle teaches that the highest purpose of relationship is not to get something, but to give and share your presence. When you bring consciousness to relationship, it becomes a spiritual practice. Instead of using the other person to enhance your ego or to complete you, you recognize that you are already complete and you share that completeness. Beyond the need-based relationship. Need-based relationships are inherently unstable because they depend on the other person behaving in ways that meet your needs. But needs change, people change, and eventually, the relationship becomes a source of frustration rather than joy. In a conscious relationship, you love the other person not because of what they do for you, but because love is your natural state when you're present. This kind of love is unconditional because it doesn't depend on the other person's behavior. Dealing with unconsciousness in others. What do you do when other people are unconscious, reactive, or stuck in ego patterns? The answer is you remain conscious. You don't try to change them or fight their unconsciousness. You simply stay present and respond from that place of presence. Often, your presence alone can help bring out the consciousness in others. When someone is angry or upset, instead of reacting with your own anger, you can offer them the gift of your presence and awareness. Chapter 9, Peace Beyond Understanding. The End of Seeking. One of the most profound realizations in the power of now is that what you're seeking is what you already are. You're not trying to get something from the future or recover something from the past. You're recognizing what has always been here. This ends the exhausting cycle of seeking that characterizes most human lives. Instead of constantly looking for happiness, peace, and fulfillment in external circumstances, you realize that these qualities are your natural state when you're present. Dealing with life challenges. Being present doesn't mean that life becomes problem-free. Challenges, difficulties, and pain are part of the human experience. But when you're present, your relationship to these challenges changes completely. Instead of adding mental suffering to physical or emotional pain, you can meet challenges with clarity and wisdom. You realize that most suffering comes not from the actual situation, but from your mental resistance to it. The deeper peace. There's a peace that exists beyond the opposites of pleasure and pain, success and failure, life and death. This is what Tolle calls the peace that passeth understanding. It's not the peace of having everything go your way. It's the peace of being deeply okay regardless of what's happening. This peace is always available because it's your true nature. It's not something you achieve or attain. It's something you recognize and allow. Chapter 10, Living the Awakened Life. Integration into daily life. The real test of these teachings isn't what happens during meditation or while reading spiritual books. It's how you live your daily life. Can you remain present while stuck in traffic? Can you stay conscious during a difficult conversation? Can you find peace in the midst of chaos? This is where the rubber meets the road. Spiritual awakening isn't an escape from ordinary life. It's a transformation of ordinary life into something sacred, the flowering of consciousness. As you live more and more from presence, something beautiful begins to happen. Your natural talents and abilities begin to flower in ways you never imagined. Creativity flows more freely. Relationships become deeper and more authentic, and you find yourself naturally drawn to activities that serve not just yourself but the larger whole. This isn't something you force or try to make happen. It's the natural flowering of consciousness when it's no longer constrained by the ego's fears and limitations. Becoming a light in the world. When you embody presence, you become a light in the world, not in a grandiose way, but in a very simple, humble way. Your presence reminds others of their own deeper nature. Your peace contributes to the peace of the world. Every moment of presence, every act of consciousness matters. You're not just transforming your own life. You're contributing to the awakening of human consciousness itself. Conclusion, the invitation. Your journey starts now. As we come to the end of this deep dive into the power of now, I want to leave you with this. Everything we've talked about today is not just theory. It's a lived reality available to you right now. You don't need to wait for the perfect conditions. You don't need to become someone different. You can start practicing presence immediately in this very moment. The simplest practice. If I could leave you with just one practice, it would be this. Throughout your day, take conscious pauses. Stop whatever you're doing, take a deep breath, and just be present for a few moments. Feel your inner body. Notice your surroundings without judgment, and rest in the simple fact of your existence. These moments of presence might seem small, but they're like drops of water that eventually wear away the mountain of unconscious living. Your transformation awaits. The power now isn't just a concept. It's a doorway to a completely different way of being human. It's an invitation to step out of the prison of psychological time and into the freedom of presence. The question isn't whether this is possible for you. The question is whether you're willing to say yes to the transformation that's always available in this moment. That's a wrap on today's incredible journey through the power of now. If this content resonated with you, if it sparked something inside you, then I know you're going to love what else we have coming on Mind's Quotes. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because we're just getting started. We're building a community of conscious individuals who are committed to living awakened lives, and I'd love for you to be part of it. Drop a comment below and let me know, what was your biggest takeaway from today's video? What aspect of presence are you most excited to explore in your own life? And if you know someone who could benefit from these teachings, please share this video with them. Sometimes we can be the catalyst for someone else's awakening. Thank you for spending these minutes with me. Thank you for being part of the Minds Quotes family. And remember, the power to transform your life exists in this very moment. The power of now is your power.